Hello, everyone. My name is Jadwiga Walters, and I am the Director of Bilingual and ESL programs here at Chapel Hill ISD. And one of the trainings that I have been sharing with campuses is called the 7 Steps to a Language-Rich Interactive Classroom using Ellevation Strategies. And so this recording is created for those of you who might not have been able to attend, and it is so important for you guys to get this information. Now, before we dive into the content, it's important for us to have an understanding of who our English learners are and how they got to be identified in such manner. Upon enrollment, parents complete a home language survey, and it has 2 important questions. What language does your child speak most often, and what language is spoken most often at home? Anytime that on either of those questions, there's another language that is not English. So if it's Spanish, if it's Urdu, if it's Hindi, if it's any other language, by law, we have to test our students. And when our students get tested, the LPAC committee convenes, they look over those results, and they begin to identify students based on the criteria established from TEA. Now at that point, they send a parent letter home. And parents have 3 options. For elementary age students, if parents have 3 options: bilingual, ESL, or the parent can actually also deny services. For secondary, there are 2 options: either ESL or the parent denies the ESL program. Ultimately, no matter what route the parent chooses, the goal for both of those programs is to meet TEA's requirements to no longer be an English learner and no longer need that linguistic support. So that criteria is established here, or at least seen here. So it's based off of 3 different assessments: the STAR reading or their EOCs, EOC 1 or EOC 2. And then of course their TELPAS, all of the domains in TELPAS. So for STAR or EOCs, they have to have a passing standard, either approaches, meets, or masters. And for TELPAS, if you notice here, they have to score an advanced high in every single domain. Now, last year in the spring, we only had 1 student in high school that was actually able to meet all of our criteria. So we only had 1 student who went from being an English learner to no longer being an English learner. And of course, what it is that you're doing in the classroom impacts that, which is the reason of why we have the training that I had created for you guys this year. Now for elementary, if you notice, this is what our results were for STAR in reading, and then also you can see it here for math. We had about 20 students who did not meet in reading. We had about 71 students who did not meet for math. Now for TELPAS, in that sort of regard, this is where we stand in elementary. So we have beginning here, that's established by the light blue, intermediate in green, advanced in red, and then finally this algae yellowish color, advanced high. Now, if you look across the board, our highest number is pretty much neck and neck between intermediate and advanced, all the way throughout, although of course we do have beginning here in reading and in writing. Now for kindergarten and 1st grade, this is something that's common because the students are just starting to begin to develop language. But as they move throughout the different grade levels, if you notice, we still have a predominant number of students that are either intermediate at an intermediate level, or they are at an advanced level, which is that red. We do start seeing a little bit more of advanced high, but still predominantly more intermediate and advanced. So that's kindergarten through 3rd. And here is 4th through 6th. Again, we have that red that pretty much stands out along with the intermediate. We do start seeing some advanced high, but advanced high is not predominant throughout all of the domains. Rather, we see it a little bit more in reading and writing, sometimes a little bit more in listening, just kind of depending on the grade level, as you can see there. Now, if you're in middle school, this is what our results were this last year, just for our EL students. So we have a much larger group of students that aren't meeting their STAR reading. And looking at TELPAS, again, just like in elementary, we start seeing that predominant result with intermediate and advanced all the way throughout. So this pretty much follows us into high school as well. So high school or EOCs, this big piece starts to actually get even larger. And then as far as number of students who aren't meeting their EOCs. Finally, 11th and 12th grade, again, we see that predominance of advanced all the way throughout. So this is a reason why we have so many students that are not reclassifying out of that English language status, is mainly because, of course, we have seen a large number of students who do not score high enough in their TELPAS, but also are not passing their STAR EOCs. So the content objectives for this training is that as the staff would explore Ellevation strategies by relating them to the 7 steps and the needs of our English learners. Our language objectives, we will read, write, and speak about 7 steps and needs of English learners. Now for you guys, it might look a little bit differently because we can't have our conversations, but hopefully you'll still get the idea of what we did as a group. So one of the first things that we did was we spoke about what is one challenge that English learners face. And so you guys got a chance to view this picture for a little bit, kind of begin to get an idea of what you think the student is going through. With this, we had an assignment. Our first activity was hanging hashtags, which is one of our Ellevation strategies. It is linked here, so that way if you want to participate and get an idea of what we talked about, we have all the questions here. So based on that picture, I asked everyone to write in a complete sentence, what do you see? What would you need to help you understand a topic that you're unfamiliar with? What strategy or strategies do you use with your students to make content understandable? And finally, what are some words that describe how the student might be feeling? And I asked you guys on a post-it note to create a hashtag with each word and to stick the note around the image. So I had a printed version of that picture, and I asked you guys to complete that piece. A lot of people had spoken about their hashtags were hashtag frustrated, hashtag isolated, hashtag alone, hashtag confused, hashtag huh. So those were some of the responses that I had gotten. And they were actually really great responses. And so that gave us an idea of what that student was going through. And so we use this activity to help us build background knowledge. Just before we dive into the actual content, we want to have students to have a general little taste of what we are about to encounter in the actual content. And so this is one of the activities that Ellevation has, hanging hashtags, and it correlates with the 7 steps of using visuals and vocabulary strategies to help support our objectives. And here I have 2 different examples. You know, we have an example of a visual with no words, which, you know, it helps, it gives us an idea, but it means a whole lot more when there's that academic vocabulary that it's attached to it. So that way it helps us relate not just visuals, but visuals with words. Now here we're going to watch a short video of why our EL strategies are important.
But that's all right because we're going to try really hard. Isn't that right, Cameron?
Yes, Miss Peters.
Okay, great. Everyone listen up. So we're going to want to work on we get our from answer, the information in the story, okay? We're going to go ahead and factual test and try this actus test. Oh, test your test up. So we're going to page. You go to page. First on page 3.
¿Qué dijo? ¿A poco va a empezar el examen? No, es una práctica.
We're going to take notes from the story and we're going to turn it into a math problem and we're going to walk through it together, okay? So the boy ran 3 blocks. So everyone write 3 blocks. How long did it take him to run 3 blocks? Michelle? 6 minutes. Very good, 6 minutes. All right, so then we would take 3 blocks and 6 minutes,
¿Por qué el niño corre con los bloques? ¿Qué? Sí, ¿por qué el niño corre con los bloques? No,
okay, so
corre
the
3
question
calles.
is going to go on to ask us, how long will it take him to run 20 blocks? What do we do? How many minutes is that per block?
8 minutes.
Try to remember to raise your hand if you want to answer, okay? No, it's not 8 minutes. Michelle.
18 minutes?
Nope, not 18 minutes. Yes, Enrique?
40?
40, yeah, very good. How'd you get 40?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, 40 is the right answer. How did you get it?
I forgot.
You forgot. Okay. Does anyone know how we get 40? Yes, Moises. Yep, that's right. Very good. Great. Can you tell us how you got that?
40?
Yep, very good. But can you explain to the class what you did here, how you got that?
Okay,
all right, you guys settle down.
So that gives us an idea of what are some of the experiences that our English learners go through. And to actually get a chance to discuss a little bit more from the video and discuss what we took away from the video, I had everyone do this activity that's called Numbered Heads Together. And what I usually would have done is I would have numbered you guys off into 1 through 4. So each one would be assigned to a different number. And you guys would be grouped with groups of 4. And as a group, you guys would answer the following questions. What misunderstanding did Moises have with the word block? What was Moises looking for to try and help him understand? What tool did he end up using to verbalize his answer? And what other resources might benefit Moises? So a couple of the answers that people had responded with was that with question 1, I had asked those that were assigned with the number 2 if one of the number 2s could answer question 1 to help randomize things a little bit. And a couple of the answers were the same, that Moises had misunderstood the word block for the cube, and he did not know that it was referring to the city block. And the second question, Moises was actually looking for visuals, any sort of understanding to kind of help him understand or make sense of the content that was being explained and used in class. Question number 3, the tool that he used to help verbalize his answer was that bilingual dictionary. Now we have a couple of different dictionaries that you do have access to upon your request. We have bilingual dictionaries, we have ESL dictionaries. ESL Dictionaries is still an English dictionary. However, the definition